Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the president of the National Education Association joins us in studio to talk about the state of public education in Arizona and around the country. Also tonight, the Black Theater Troupe is set with another new season of performances and what fossils discovered by local researchers suggest about human evolution. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Public schools in Arizona and around the country are facing serious issues regarding funding, teacher retention, and declining student achievement. Earlier today, the head of the National Education Association, Becky Pringle, joined us to discuss these and other issues. Becky Pringle, it's so nice to meet you. Such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to talk education, and my first question is the state of public education in America right now. What do you see?
You know, I taught middle-level learners, 8th grade mostly, the wonders of science for 31 years. 31 years before I became an officer in the National Education Association. And so I've seen a lot of things I have throughout my many years in public education. Right now, the attacks on public education itself are at an all-time high. And as I look around the country, state by state, but most especially at the federal level, those attacks are vicious. They're aimed at teachers themselves, but mostly they're aimed at the system of public education, which we understand is at the foundation of this or any democracy. And we have to fight to make sure that it exists for our kids.
Why do you think those attacks are happening?
I'm very clear about why those attacks are happening. You know, my dad was a history teacher. So he had 3 girls, and he'd always sit us down and say, Rebecca, you need to know history, your history, family history, American history and world history, and you'll always see throughout time, and no matter where you are, the rise and fall of societies and empires and governments, and it always starts when whoever is in a position of power tries to take away the right to learn of those citizens, and that's what we're seeing right now in this country.
That's what we're seeing with public education, but it can be argued that private education is on the upswing. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'll go back to what I said, public education, the right of every student to a free, universal, quality public education is core to a democracy. And so while private education has existed in this country forever, it is the responsibility of the government of this country at every level, local, state, and national, to protect that right of public education. And any siphoning of money, tax dollars, and putting it into private school then erodes that right.
And that is a big issue here in Arizona. Education vouchers, ESAs, but they're vouchers by any other name. They're very big here. And do we have a federal voucher system now? Is that in place or is that just being talked about?
Oh, well, in the big, bad, terrible, really no good bill that passed out of Congress, indeed. There was a federal voucher program that was included in that. And the impact of that is not, here in Arizona too, that absolutely has an impact, even though you were down the road in terms of vouchers. But in those states where they don't have federal voucher, or where they don't have vouchers, it provides that avenue to erode that public funding from those public schools. I visited a school today that talked a lot about that, and it's not only private schools, but in many cases those market-driven charter schools too, which are siphoning money out of the public schools, which necessarily means that our public schools are left with fewer resources, and more times than not, the students who need the most money, the majority of resources, higher amount of resources to educate them, in particular our students with disabilities, they are sent back to our public schools, but the funds are not. And by any measure, We know that is an unfair way to have have a system, and we know that impacts every single student in that school.
And that emphasis on public education that you're talking about, I want to talk about those who support vouchers in Arizona, because it does go back and forth, and certainly most of the state legislature, not a lot, but the majority, Republican majority, say that it's important to have students and parents give them a choice to get out of a failing school and into the school of their choice with their money. How do you respond to that?
So let's be clear. Voucher schemes have existed in this country for quite a long time. And we have learned a lot since that. You know that they were put into place in a way, and we talked about it in this way, that it was good to have competition. That vouchers would bring about higher student success, and all of those claims were made. That never came to fruition. That never became true. And so these schemes that were touted as a way for students to have greater success, that in fact was not the case. We know that with the passage of voucher laws in most states, those students who get those vouchers are students who are already going to private schools. So these are students that are the families that already had their students in private school, and now they're getting tax dollars to actually pay for that private school. And that the schemes, regardless of what you call them, are all designed to destroy public education in this country.
I want to talk about the current superintendent of public instruction and a quote that he made. This is the quote, I believe it was from the campaign trail. Liberals are trying to indoctrinate our school children to hate American. Liberal school teachers are trying to indoctrinate our school children to hate America. What do you make of that?
As I said before, I taught for a long time, and as I travel across, I have the honor of traveling across the country and seeing educators in rural schools and urban schools, suburban schools, everywhere, every state. I have never been prouder to call myself a teacher than I am right now. Because as I see teachers and other educators in our school districts, they are fighting to make sure that they have the professional respect, that they have the authority and collective autonomy to make teaching and learning decisions based on what their kids need, based on processes where they not only partner with parents, but lawmakers too, to establish standards by which they teach. They are not spending their time indoctrinating students. They are spending their time making sure that they have the knowledge, skills, and abilities, not only to prepare them for their next step in their education journey, but to prepare them for life, for the careers, for college. That's what educators are doing, and they're not just doing that. They're standing in the gaps for kids every single day.
How do you get more teachers? Because we've talked for years here in Arizona, teacher retention, teacher recruitment, it's a problem here. I'm assuming it's a problem elsewhere. What do you do?
It is a problem everywhere. And by the way, it's a chronic problem. COVID made it worse because COVID made everything worse. But we at the NEA have been following it for the last couple of decades. And we saw the decline of the number of college students who were going into education. So we've been at this work, recruiting teachers, but also retaining them. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse because, and we asked our teachers, we actually did a survey to find out how many teachers were thinking about leaving the profession. And I will tell you, we were shocked at the results, that 55% of our educators were saying that they were planning. They were actually planning to leave the profession. When you dug into those numbers and you looked at our teachers of color, our Latino teachers were at the high 50s, so more, and our black teachers were over 60% of them were saying they were planning to leave the profession. So we can't only talk about actually attracting, we have to talk about the retention issue too. So I was shocked. So as I traveled around the country, I asked them why. And they said one word: respect. Respect means a lot of things to a lot of people, so I had to dig in a little bit on that. What do you mean by that? And they said, we want to be respected as professionals. we are professionals. We studied, we have the experience. We are not treated as other professionals, allowed to make those teaching and learning decisions for our students. Of course, they talked about professional pay. You know, we still have a 25% wage gap when you compare us to other similarly situated professions. And the last thing they talked about was the ability to do the jobs they love, to have the resources for their students, to meet them where they were, to have working conditions that allowed them to create that inclusive and loving, joyful, highly academic space for them, and that they didn't have those resources. You know that teachers, just generally nationwide, spend almost $500 as they came back to school this year on their classrooms out of their own family's pocket. And so those are the things they talked about. And what's happening at the federal level and at the state level to some degree is going further and further away from that, which is why that teacher shortage is increasing and not being turned around the way it needs to be in this country.
Becky Pringle, National Education Association President. Well, it's good to meet you. Good to talk with you and speak with you and get your opinion on things. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Congress returns from August recess facing a looming government shutdown. That's coming up at 6 on Arizona PBS.
The Black Theater Troupe was founded in 1970 to provide a space for Black artists to share their experiences and perform plays and poetry. The troupe is set to introduce its new season, and joining us now is David Hemphill, the Black Theater Troupe's Executive Director and Producing Artistic Associate, Chanel Bragg. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, David, it's that time of year, huh?
It sure is.
Yeah. Are you all set to go? Everything okay? Yeah?
It's set to go. It's always been a very easily produced thing because it's so very important and it's so very popular that we just kind of roll through the setting up of it, through the beginning of it.
And before I get to Chanel, I got to ask, it's got to be an August Wilson play on the
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
We're doing Jitney in February. Now, Jitney was the first play written in August Wilson's American Century Cycle. That's the very first one written in 1979. So we're doing it. We've done all 10, but we're starting over again for a new generation. So.
And the troupe as well got some good pub and good publicity for doing all those plays,
yes,
didn't
we
they?
do. We're one of only 12 companies in the country that have done the complete cycle. We received an award from the Pittsburgh Association, August Wilson's Home, about our production. So we're very grateful, very popular nationally.
And Chanel, you are directing Grace and Glory.
Yes.
What's that all about?
It is an incredible story about two women, an older woman that is from Virginia in Appalachia and a younger woman from New York, and very big disparity in ages, so it's an intergenerational love story between these two women as Grace is in hospice, living out the last couple of weeks of her life, and her connecting, of course, with Glory, who's trying to assist her. And so it's a comedy, it's a dramedy, because it's dealing with some serious subject matter, but it's also pretty funny, and it's really loving how these two women come to be friends.
What attracted you? You give a good synopsis there, and obviously you like this play, but what attracted you to this, especially coming from a director's viewpoint?
From a director's viewpoint, number one, I was excited to work with the actresses that we cast. They are both brilliant and definitely master classes in their own right. But a two-hander allows me the time to really sit with the text and get into the guts of it. We did a lot of table work sessions, which at the beginning of the process, you sit down and you do dramaturgical work, which you look up Virginia and Appalachia and what is an orchard, what is it like owning an orchard tree and all those different things that inhabit these characters' lives. And we get to really understand and play who these women are.
Yeah, and we were talking before we went on the air, David, the idea of directing a stage play, man, there's a lot going on.
Oh, it's a great undertaking. You have to be very attuned, first of all, to your performers, because if you don't have good performers, satisfied performers, it can be very, very difficult. And then to direct the nuts and bolts of the production, it's a lot of work, takes a lot of time.
How do you attract good performers?
by doing good work.
Yes.
Mainly by doing good work.
Yes.
That's how we attract our performers. And once you do good work and the word gets out that you're doing well, everybody wants
They
to
come
jump
back.
on board.
Yeah.
Both actresses have been with us before.
Right, they've been with us before. And another way we do it is, particularly now, we get younger directors and people that have had a link into, she's had her own companies and et cetera. So now we get to benefit from that, and all those people come to our place. So
Yeah, and from a director's viewpoint, again, when the curtain goes up, the lights come on, the audience is there and watching, what are you doing?
I can't breathe.
I
I
thought.
literally sit there, I'm like, and you hope that every joke lands, we hope that all the emotional moments land, and then whatever your conceit was or your thesis was for the play, you hope that the audience leaves with that information. And so if they're, whatever they're feeling, sometimes I like to listen in the lobby during intermission.
that's where you'll find me when the show goes on. I can't watch.
Yeah.
And
No.
it's to hear how people are connecting with the piece or not connecting with the piece. It starts conversations. And I think any good play keeps conversation going even after you leave the theater, because to me, theater inspires empathy. So we want people to talk about it when they
And
leave.
that's the purpose of the Black Theater Troupe, to provoke thought.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to leave with an understanding of, our plays are universal. They're universal. They're told with black actors and certain nuances, but it's always a same story that can be applied to any culture.
And we should mention 1970, Helen K. Mason. Now you're performing in the Helen K. Mason Theater, huh?
That's right, thanks to your tax dollars.
Yes.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying. But I mean, isn't that something, that turnaround?
It is, it's wonderful. We were fortunate enough to receive the building in the last bond election, which I think was our very, very last one in the city, 2006.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, it's a while ago.
Yeah, and we were able to get the building that way.
And David, it can't be a show with you and the Black Theater Troupe without talking about Black Nativity.
Oh, there it
Yes.
is.
That is still an audience favorite, isn't it?
It is.
It is an audience favorite. It's so favorite that we're trying to think of ways to incorporate another something before Black Nativity to take advantage of the holiday season. So.
All right, very good. And Janelle, last question for you. Is there still that excitement? I mean, it's after a lot of experience here. You've done this and you know what you're doing, and you're a professional, but you still get up for it, don't you?
Yes. I don't want to be doing anything else. I've done a lot, and I've been very fortunate in my young career to have touched a lot of different spaces, but storytelling, I think, is what I'm meant to do. And so being allowed to be in these spaces where I get to show marginalized voices being heard and people being able to express empathy by watching our stories also be told. And then that connectivity of like, oh, wait a minute, my family's also going through that. That is what I do this for. It is a calling. I think your ministry can look like lots of different things. And I'm realizing, because I am a performer too, but I think my true calling is in storytelling.
Well, Chanel Bragg, and again, David Hemphill. David, always a pleasure to see you again. Chanel, good to see you as well.
see you too.
And best of luck. Break a couple of legs there, huh?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you so
thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you.
It's taken decades of work to unlock the secrets of the Lucy skeleton. Did Lucy look and move like us, or more like our closest relative, the chimpanzee? With some help from the California Academy of Sciences, let me show you why those questions matter. Lucy and chimps both have an elongated skull with a small brain case. Faces and jaws that jut out from the brain case under the skull. Working our way down the body, both have shoulder blades and joints that are suited for climbing trees. They both have long arms and hands with curved fingers. Now let's put one of us in the picture. Lucy and humans share a spine connection beneath the skull to keep the head steady. Like us, Lucy has a robust, broad basin-shaped pelvis to support the upper body and hold it upright. Like us, she's got angled thigh bones that place the weight directly over strong knee joints. And like us, compact arched feet that support the full body weight with every step.
Speaking of fossils, ASU scientists have uncovered a set of fossils in Ethiopia that speak to human evolution and perhaps a new species of ancient human ancestor. To learn more, we welcome ASU geologist Chris Campesano. Welcome to Arizona Horizon. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
All right, so ASU, this is Ethiopia, right? You're at a site. What'd you find?
So ultimately, we only found 13 teeth, but in those 13 teeth, we have 3 different levels preserved at around 2.8, 2.7, and 2.6 million years ago. And what it shows is that at 2.6 and 2.8, we have members of our genus Homo, and unsuspectingly or surprisingly, at 2.7 million years old, you have something called Australopithecus, which is something more aligned with what you see at around 3 million years or so in this region.
Interesting. How do you know? You got these dates pretty close. I mean, pretty close. I mean, 2.6. But I mean, how do you know?
So a really cool thing about working in East Africa is it's a active rifting environment with lots of volcanoes, and they've been volcanoes there for millions of years. And when they erupt, the ash that they deposit includes a mineral called feldspar that we can use to date. So the argon-argon dating or potassium-argon dating, radiometric dating, we can date those ash horizons, and we have multiple of them in our sequence so that we can say, well, this fossil is between this date, and this fossil is between here and here, and so you can use them to set up a chronostratigraphic framework, if you will. So
How
a sequence
interesting.
of dates that you can insert your fossils in between.
So basically, you work around and can figure that out.
Yeah, so in fact, we knew most of the dates of the fossils before we even found them.
Yeah,
We knew the age of the sequence, and that's why we were surveying there, because it's sort of an important time period.
We just saw Lucy. Where does Lucy fit into all this?
So Lucy is found about maybe 50 miles away, 30 miles away from where we found these new specimens. And Lucy exists in the Afar, this region of Ethiopia, from about 3.8 to about 3.0 million years old.
Wow.
A million years away. And so there's this gap that we had from about 3 million to 2.5 million. And we started filling that in about 10 years ago with, again, this material we call early Homo, so our genus Homo. And this additional material shows that, potentially this Australopithecus lineage, it could be related to Lucy somehow. We don't know. It's still not enough to tell. There's only 9 teeth that we have of this. That there's another critter on the landscape. So it goes from this sort of big gap for 500,000 years to now 2 species on the same landscape.
Is that why you were surprised?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's a time period that's not well preserved, and hominin fossils, as we call them, are very rare on the landscape. So it takes a lot of time till you come across them. You find hundreds of other animals on fossilized animals, but hominins are extremely rare, and so it took us 10 years to find the first one, and so then finding this one and finding it being something different is kind of a cool surprise.
So Australopithecus existed maybe at the same time as the oldest human ancestor?
Yeah, exactly. And so there are bits of Australopithecus in the area. Again, there's this one called Australopithecus garhi from 2.5 million, but it doesn't seem to be exactly on our lineage. And so the sort of takeaway is that, this sort of simplified model of evolution where you assume that one species splits into maybe 1 or 2 other species. It's not so much a family tree as it is a family bush, if you will. So all of a sudden now you have, if you look at East Africa, you have 4 different early human taxa or early human species running around the landscape.
It doesn't sound very linear to me. Does that make it more difficult to figure things out?
Yeah, it does make it more difficult, especially when you only have a small sample size, like again, 9 teeth, but not enough to even really characterize it into a new species. It doesn't look like Lucy's species. It doesn't look like other things that we know at that time. So we didn't name it, but we didn't group it into something that exists already. And so it creates a challenge because you have little tiny pieces of a puzzle, but it makes it that much more exciting because you know that there's still more out there to find.
Could they have coexisted? I mean, is this the kind of thing, could it possibly have happened? Just you stay on over here, I'll stay over here, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's tough to say because, we have sort of the early Homo, Australopithecus, early Homo, so we know that they overlapped broadly in time and space.
Yeah.
It's tough to say whether they, waved to each other as they walked around during the day or not. But it's possible. It's you can't really say one way or the other.
So, but in any way, just looking at this and this discovery, what does it say about human evolution?
I think it tells us that there's still a lot more to find. And this is sort of the case with discovery-driven science in general, whether it's dealing with dinosaurs or early humans, right? It's getting people into the field, boots on the ground. The more time you're looking for things, the more things you're going to find. It may take a long time. It might only be a handful of teeth, but every discovery sort of becomes important.
Well, you said more needs to be found. Can more be found at this particular site? Can more be found in this general area?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, are the sites being taken up, is I guess my question.
I mean, the sites are we've carved up the landscape pretty good amongst different research groups. But every year, right, you have rain and wind eroding the landscapes, and you go back out and you find new things every year. So the sediments are sort of renewing with fossils, and so like I said, we found one fossil important fossil in 10 years, and it took us a while to find the other one. So it's just probably a matter of time.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of questions you still want answered as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we definitely want more. We want to know what this thing was like. Right now, we know what its teeth looked like. We want to know, what was its skull like? How did it move around the landscape? What did it eat? Those sorts of things. So this is sort of a little teaser.
Chris Campusano, great stuff, ASU geologist. Thanks for sharing the story. It's good
problem.
stuff.
Thank you for having us.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.